Welcome, students. Welcome to the WEAR community. This is going to be a discussion on LR sets that have come in the previous CAT papers. We will be doing one set at a time on a regular basis. This is one set for you. I will be showing you the set, and I want each one of you to pause the video and try and solve the set by yourself. After that, you can resume watching the video and look at the explanation that I have provided there. The set has come from CAT 2021. This was the first slot, and the set goes as this. Let's take a look at what all information is already provided to us, and let's try and understand the language of the question. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Now they have given us names, but for convenience purpose, we're going to call them by their initials. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. That is 7 people in a town. Any pair of them could be either strangers, acquaintances, or friends. All relationships are mutual, which means if A is a friend of B, then B is also a friend of A. Similarly, if A is a stranger to B, then B is also a stranger to A. So it goes vice versa. If A and C are friends, then C and A are also friends. And on similar basis, if D and F are strangers, then F and D are also strangers. It cannot be a one-way relationship, is what they're trying to tell us. Partial information of each of these people is given in the table below. The following additional facts are also known. Let's take a look at some of the conditions that they have given us in the information. The first one says A, B, and C are mutual strangers. So they have given us information about A, B, and C, that they are mutual strangers. That means each one of them is a stranger to the other two people. So A is a stranger to B and to C. B is a stranger to A and to C. And C is a stranger to A and to B. Now, if you glance at the table that they have already given us along with the set, you will notice that there are names written. You have the number of friends, you have the number of acquaintances, and you have number of strangers. Some of the information is already given to us, and the rest of us is missing. And the rest of it is missing, which we are expected to fill in. So we know that A, B, and C will go into the number of strangers for each one of them, A, B, and C. All right. Next up, we have A, D, and F are E's friends. So E's friends will be A, D, and F. I will fill it up at a time. I am just trying to go through the information and try and understand whether this set should be, and I'm trying to understand whether this set should be taken to solve or not. This is what you will be doing when at a first glance, you will try and gauge and then decide for yourself whether the set is doable or whether you should move on to another set. C and G are friends. So C's friend is G. C and G are friends. So C's friend is G and G's friend is C. Remember, their relationships are mutual. That means if C's friend is G, I will write down C as G's friend as well. Every friend of A is an acquaintance of B, and every acquaintance of B is a friend of A. At this moment, this information is a little difficult to understand. We will come back to this condition later, and likewise for the fifth condition as well. Every friend of B is an acquaintance of A, and every acquaintance of A is a friend of B. We'll come back to this in a bit. But let's start with trying to understand and analyze who all can be placed where all in this particular chart. It is also a good practice to go ahead and take a glance at the questions that follow the set. Because the questions, if they are on an easier level, it would be wise to pick up and choose a set like this. But if each and every question again makes it complicated for you, then give it a second thought. If there is an easier set available, in the exam, try and attempt that. But if there isn't, then we have to try and attempt this one as well. This one, this set for that slot was somewhere rated along the medium to difficulty level. This set in the slot was rated somewhere along the medium to difficult level set. So we have to try and gauge which set to leave and which set to actually solve. All right, now that we have picked the set up for today, let's try and fill in the information in the table. So let's go ahead and read through the conditions once again. We have A, B, and C are mutual strangers. Now, what I will be doing is I will be filling in information as in how I get to know their names. If A, B, and C are mutual strangers, that means A's strangers are B and C. So in the names of strangers for A, I will be listing down B and C. Let me fill that information in. So we already have B and we have C. We have 2 people out of 4 strangers for A. Likewise, B's strangers are A and C. So I will be filling that in B's place. This will be A and C. And C strangers are A and B. So in C's strangers place, I will be filling in A and B. I cannot be absolutely sure that these are the only strangers that these people have. There could be more than these strangers as well. So I do not write down the numbers right now itself. All right. That is the first condition which we have listed over here. Let's go to the second condition. A, D, and F are E's friends. So E's friends are A, D, and F. These ones we know for sure from the statement number 2. Now, if E is A's friend, then if E is A's friend, then in the list of friends for A, E has to show up. Same thing with if E and D are friends, D's friend will also include E. Since they are mutual, I'm going to make 2. Since they are mutual, I'm going to make 2 entries for each person. And E and F are friends. So F's friend is E itself. Now, what do we see? They have already told us that F has only one friend. And we have found out the name of that friend as well. So this box is completely done. We have filled up this box. We have understood who the friend is. There won't be any other friend of F here, which means F will not be a friend to anybody else either, because F and E are friends alone. So E and F are friends. Nobody else is friends with F. I hope this is clear because they are saying the relationships are mutual. If A and F were friends, then there wouldn't be just one number over here in the number of friends of F. There would have been more than one. So we've taken care of the first condition. We have also taken care of the second condition. And we have made sure that we have made 2 entries every time a relationship comes up. So E and A are friends. That means A and E are friends. E and D are friends. That means D and E are friends. And E and F are friends. That means F and E are friends as well. Let's go to the third condition. C and G are friends. So C listed is G as a friend. And accordingly, for G, C is a friend. So we are done with 3 conditions right now, first, second, and third. Is there anything that we can try and gauge from this information, or can we add on to the table, or can we decide that one particular box is completely filled up? For sure, we know that F has one friend who is E, so there cannot be any more additions over here, which means I can simply mark this as a checklist. This is complete. On the other hand, if you take a look at A's line, apart from A, you have to fill in their relationships with 6 people. That's B, C, D, E, F, and G. So every person has to have 6 people adjusted between these 3 relationships. Is that right? We already know that 4 strangers belong to A and 1 acquaintance belongs to A. So 4 plus 1, 5 relationships are already taken care of. 1 is a friend. That means all 6 have been taken care of here. So I'm going to plug in this as 1. And I'm going to say that I have got all the 6 people for A. I haven't yet got the names, but I know for a fact that A has 1 friend who is E. A has 1 acquaintance who we don't know. And A has 4 friends, 2 of which have been accounted for, but we still have 2 more to figure out. That's the first thing. Is there anything else that can be done? Similarly, if I take a look at the last line, that is G's relationships. We know that there are 2 people as strangers. We know that there are 3 acquaintances of G, and we already know that C is a friend, which is 1 person remains who is a friend. So we have completed this box as well for G, and we have completed this box as well for A. So far, these are the conditions that we are done with. Now, let's try and see what else can be filled in. The 4th statement says every friend of A is an acquaintance of B. And every acquaintance of B is a friend of A. Every friend of A is an acquaintance of B. How many friends does A have? 1. That friend is an acquaintance of B. So I'm going to write E as an acquaintance of B. That acquaintance is E. And every acquaintance of B is a friend of A. Now, every friend of A, there is 1 friend only, is an acquaintance of B. Every acquaintance of B, there could be more acquaintances, will be a friend of A. But A has only 1 friend. That means B does not have any more acquaintances. If B had any other acquaintance, they would automatically become a friend of A. But A has only 1 friend who is E themselves. Which is why we can now conclude that B does not have any more acquaintances, which means B has only 1 acquaintance. I hope this statement is clear to everybody. So I will be listing down 1 acquaintance for B, and we have taken care of this particular box also. Let's go to the 5th statement. The 5th statement says, every friend of B is an acquaintance of A. Every friend of B is an acquaintance of A. And every acquaintance of A is a friend of B. What does this mean again? According to the same thing, every friend of B is an acquaintance of A, and every acquaintance of A is a friend of B. If there is 1 acquaintance of A, that acquaintance is a friend of B, right? And then that person is also the acquaintance of B, which again means I can say that there is only 1 friend of B because they have to match the acquaintance of B. So there is 1 person over here. Now, what does this tell me again? B has 1 friend, B has 1 acquaintance. There are in total 6 friends to take care of for B, that is A, C, D, E, F, and G. And there are 2 of them as strangers. That means the rest of them will have to be in the stranger category. So I am saying that there are a total of 4 strangers that B has. Out of which 2 are accounted for, we still have to come to the other 2. So far, so good. I think we have utilized all the additional facts that they have provided us. Now, it is our job to try and understand as much as we can from everything that we have already filled into the table. Let's take a look at what else can be done. F has only one friend who's taken care of. G has only one friend, C, who's taken care of. Now we are trying to find out who can be B's friend. For B, the possible relations are with A, C, D, E, F, and G. I hope you understand why B is not considered, because B cannot have a relationship with him or herself as a friend, as an acquaintance, as a stranger, according to this particular set. In real life, of course, we are each other's friends. We are our own friends, but not in the set. So we're trying to make sense of who could be B's friend. Now, B's friend also has to be A's acquaintance. Remember that. Which means A's acquaintance can't be A. That means B's friend can't be A. So I'm crossing out A as B's friend. What about C? C could be a possibility because we don't know how many friends C has. Let's go with D. We don't know how many friends D has. What about E? Can B and E be friends? E is already, okay. Can B and C be friends? C is already taken care of as a stranger. So C is already gone as a stranger. Similarly, E is also gone as an acquaintance, which means we are left with D, F, and G as a friend of B. Now, if you take a look at F's friend and G's friend, there is one friend each and they are both booked. That means there's no space for B to be friends of F and G. So I'm crossing out F and I'm crossing out G as well. My answer will be D. D alone is left to be a friend to Bharat. So the one friend that B has, who's also A's acquaintance, is D themselves. Let's fill that box up and let's cross that box out as a complete box. This is a D and this is also a D, and we have taken care of those two boxes as well. What is the next step? The next step is to identify. So we have one friend, one acquaintance. The rest four are going to be strangers to B. A and C are already written here. Who are left to be written? So we have A, C gone, D, E gone, F and G are remaining. So F and G will automatically be strangers to B. Which means in the category of strangers for F, I have to have B. And in the category of G, as strangers, I have to have B as well. Likewise, for A's number of relationships, one friend is done, one acquaintance is done, two strangers are done, two more are left, which again have to be B is gone, C is gone, D is gone, E is gone. That means F and G are going to be the strangers of A as well. So I will list them down here. And accordingly, A will become a stranger to F and A will become a stranger to G as well. Let's quickly mark up all the boxes that we have completely filled. So 4 is taken care of, 4 is taken care of. For G, the number of strangers is also taken care of. So we are going to write that here as well. Now the remaining ones for G have to be acquaintances because one friend is filled, two strangers are filled. The rest three have to be G's acquaintances. So let's fill them in now. A, B, and C are over. That means D, E, and F are remaining. So the three acquaintances that G has are D, E, and F. Likewise, because it's mutual, let's go back and fill up for these people also. G will be an acquaintance. So for D, G is an acquaintance. For E also, G is an acquaintance. And for F also, G is an acquaintance. We've taken care of all the boxes for G as well. So I will give that a tick. Now, what else can be done? We have tried to fill in as much as information, but of course, there will be something more that can be done, just like we had figured out something from the table itself. C is left with one acquaintance. C is left with one acquaintance. Let's list down how many people are left to C or how many people are done with C. So has relations with A, B, D, E, F, and G. Is that right? Out of which A is accounted for as a stranger, B is accounted for as a stranger, and G is accounted for as a friend. A, B, and G are gone. Now we have to think between D, E, and F. Can D be an acquaintance to C? Can E be an acquaintance to C? And can F be an acquaintance to C? This is what needs to be figured out. All right, let's take a look at E's strangers. We have one stranger remaining for E. And we have to now check who can be a stranger to E. A, D, and F are already considered as friends of E, and G is considered as an acquaintance of E. Also, if we take a look, B is E's acquaintance. That means E has to be B's acquaintance. So this can be filled out with B and G. And also A and D are acquaintances. So D and A will be acquaintances as well. Now, for E's line, we already have 5 people who have taken their place. That means there's only one person left for the strangers bit. Let's take a look at who it might be. So A is gone, B is gone, C is not gone. So C could be a possibility. D and F and G, everyone else is gone. That means E's stranger has to be C. If E's stranger is C, I will count E as a stranger to C as well. E has completed all 6 relationships, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That means we can cross off all the boxes for E. So this is complete, and this is complete as well. Let me write down the numbers also. E has 2 acquaintances and E has 3 friends. For C, let's take a look at what is remaining. So A, B, and E are gone now. And G is gone. So we are left with D and F. Let's take a look at who could be an acquaintance to C. Can D be an acquaintance to C, or can F be an acquaintance to C? When we take a look at D, we know that A and G are acquaintances. When we take a look at D, let's write down all the possible people who are in relation with D. So A, B, C, E, F, and G, out of which we have already taken care of A and G and E. So we are left with B, C, and F. Now, can B be a stranger to D? No, because B's strangers are already fixed and there is no more place for D to be included in B strangers. So B cannot be a stranger to D. Can I have C? Yes, I can. Can I have F? Yes, maybe I can. Since we have cancelled out B from here, we also know that B and D are friends. So D and B have to be counted for as friends, which is why I will be writing down B's name as a friend of D. Now, we know that Dinesh has 2 strangers, which are C and F. Those are the only 2 remaining, which means this will be filled with C and F. Going alongside, D and C are strangers. That means C and D will also be strangers. And and D and F are strangers, which means F and D will also be strangers. These all three boxes have been filled up. We have 6 people in 3 boxes. That means I can cross out all the boxes for D. This is taken care of, this is taken care of, this is taken care of. And the breakdown is 2, 2, 2. So 2 friends, 2 acquaintances, and 2 strangers has been accounted for. Now, the only 2 that are remaining are Chandran and Pani. If I see Chandran, we already have D, A, B, E, and G. So D is already taken care of, which means the only person who is left as an acquaintance will have to be F. So I will click that up and write F in place of the acquaintance. And likewise for F as well. So this becomes F, and F will have C as an acquaintance as well. Take a look at if Chandran's all 6 have been taken care of. Yes. So I will tick mark all the boxes that have been completed so far. Now the only person remaining is F. For F, how many people are done with? A, B, C, D, E is taken care of, and G is also taken care of. So all the 6 are done for F as well. That means there's nobody else left to be filled up. And this is how all the relations are taken care of. So we have 2 acquaintances for Funny and 3 friends, 3 strangers of Funny as well. We have 4 strangers for Chandran and 1 friend of Chandran. That is how we filled up all the boxes. And now let's take a look at the questions that follow the set. This is our final diagram from everything that we have filled depending on the conditions. Let's take a look at question number 1. Which of these pairs share the same type of relationship? Let's go by the options one by one. BC, what relation do they share? BC are strangers, and DE. BC, what relation do B and C share? B and C are strangers. And DE, let's take a look at if DE are also strangers. DE are in fact friends. So one bit is strangers, one pair is friends. It is not the same type of relationship. We want 2 pairs that have the same type of relationship. So A cannot be an answer to this question. Let's take a look at CE and DG. C and E are strangers. D and G are acquaintances. So cannot be an answer either. Let's take a look at option C, AG. So A and G are strangers. EF. E and F are friends. So cannot be an answer. That means we are left with only the last option, that is option D. So that should be the answer, but let's just confirm it. BE, B and E are strangers. And FG, are F and G also strangers? Yes. So that is going to be the answer. Question number 2. Who are G's acquaintances? So G's acquaintances are D, E, and F. D, E, and F is option B. That's going to be our answer. Question number 3. Who is an acquaintance of A? Acquaintance of A is D. So D, Dinesh, will be the correct answer. These are short questions that follow the diagram that we just completed drawing. Let's take a look at the next few questions. Question number 4. Who is an acquaintance of C? Acquaintances of C is F. So F, that is C itself, is the answer. Question 5 was a theta question, which means type in the answer question. There are some questions in CAT which will be of this type, wherein you are given a text box to fill in your answer into. There are no options, so you have no idea of what could be the correct answer or what would be the range of the answers. But then you have to definitely mark some answer, or you have to definitely fill in some answer to these questions, because these theta questions, that is type in the answer questions, do not have negative marking. So come what may, whatever come in your mind, you have to fill in the box. If by fluke you get it right, you get the marks. If you get it wrong, there is no harm because there is no negative marking, so nothing will be cut from your score as well. So these two, 5 and 6, are the theta questions that followed this set. Let's take a look at the question. How many friends does E have? E has 3 friends, A, D, and F, so the answer will be 3. There's no way you can type in text. There has to be numbers alone. And question 6, how many people are either a friend or a friend of E? Now let's understand the question once again. How many people are either a friend? Let's see how many are friends of E. Friends of E are 3, that is A, D, and F. Or a friend of E. So friend of E we have found out. Now friend of these people also are to be considered. Who is A's friend? A's friend is E alone. Right, so we're not considering E because the question is about E. D, these friends are E and B. So E is a common person. D has one more friend, B. Okay, and F. F has E as the only friend. So the answer here will be A, D, F, and B. That means the answer to fill into the box will be 4 friends. So those were your 6 questions that followed all this information. I'm sure you must be thinking that it was a lengthy set. That's because there were 6 questions that followed, right? So you can give the timing for 6 questions to this particular set in order to get the diagram right, in order to get all the relationships right. And then it will barely take you any time to actually just answer the 6 questions and move ahead. So this was the set for this particular day. I hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you very much. I'll see you in another set. If you want to know more about the Wired community, there is a link in the description. Please go ahead and take a look at us.